Are you a supervisor who empowers her employees, or do you enable them? In this video, we're going to compare and contrast empowering others versus enabling them. And I'll give you four comparisons and contrasting scenarios there. Hi, I'm Beth Strathman. Welcome to my channel where I offer common sense leadership solutions so simple and wise your employees will practically lead themselves. On my channel, I offer a wide variety of leadership strategies and techniques. So if you're new here, please subscribe. So enabling versus empowering. Now, what do I mean when I say enabling? When I'm talking about enabling, I'm talking about the more dysfunctional kind of enabling where you get caught up in more of a codependent relationship with an employee or a group of employees versus empowering where you really allow them to shine and help them accomplish the things that need to be accomplished in your company. So I guess one of the definitions I've seen on enabling that I think is really good is when it's when you allow others to control your behavior or you being controlled by someone else's behavior. So a couple of examples of that would be looking the other way when one employee mistreats a coworker or a customer, or talking yourself out of addressing an issue because you pretend that, oh, it isn't that bad. Or a third example might be giving an employee a satisfactory performance review, even though you know their performance isn't satisfactory, just so you don't have to deal with all the fallout from whatever may happen when you tell them that their performance isn't up to snuff. So those are just some examples of how a supervisor, a manager, a leader can allow their behavior to be controlled by someone else's. So let's compare and contrast about four different ways where to illustrate what enabling versus empowering is. So here's the first way. I think enabling is more focusing on yourself or the impact to yourself. For example, how uncomfortable you're going to be when you have to sit down and deliver some bad news to an employee, versus being focused on the good of the group, which is more empowering. When you're focused on the good of the group, you're focused on what is possible to happen and what becomes possible for each and every member of the group. So focused on yourself and how uncomfortable you're going to be versus focused on the group, more empowering. A second comparison and contrast is looking for what's wrong and how to blame someone for what's going wrong versus focusing on what you can do or looking for ways that you can train that person, give them different experiences, basically whatever you can teach them, build them up, encourage them to do. So making excuses versus finding out ways to make them better. One is enabling, one is empowering. A third way, you are enabling if you see the person as incapable, incompetent, not able to take care of themselves, not able to do what they need to do, versus holding that person as very capable and able to build the competence so that they can really contribute to their job and to the team that they're on. So holding them as incapable or seeing them as very capable of doing what needs to be done. Now, I'm not saying that everyone ultimately has the skills needed, and sometimes you do have to send people on their way when they don't, but instead of just writing people off right away, give them a shot and give them the opportunity to step up to the plate. And the fourth comparison and contrast is you're enabling people if you are running in to rescue them all the time. Oh, you're too busy. Here, let me take that off your plate, when really they're not too busy. They're just complaining a lot and you want them to stop complaining. So rescuing them is enabling versus coaching them, which is more taking them aside and not doing for them, but helping them to think through what they need to do to get things done. So being more of a sounding board and an encourager versus the person who just rushes in, sweeps them out of the way, and takes care of whatever the big bad thing is that they don't want to do. So those are 4 traits you can look at in yourself to make sure you're more on the empowering end of things versus the enabling / codependent end of things. So let me know what your experience is, either things you see in yourself or things you've seen in other leaders that you've worked with. How empowering versus enabling are you, or have you seen other people be? Leave your comments below in the information box or in the comments box, and let me know what your experience has been. And as always, like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it interesting or helpful to think about. And finally, I've got my free tool, the Conversation Planner. It'll help you plan out those tough conversations that you might have been putting off. So go ahead and grab that and sit down and think through what you really need to say to someone who might need to hear from you. So until next time, this is Beth Strathman with Common Sense Leadership Solutions, so simple and wise, your employees will practically lead themselves.